Hi guys, welcome to Kampers Korner. My name is Yeti, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make beaded animals, or specifically a beaded lizard. So for this activity, you're going to need, you don't need it, but a little keychain or something to put on the end of it is always handy. You will need that to attach it to things, unless you leave just a little loop. You will need some beads. I'm using pony beads. They're like magic. And then you're going to need string that you can attach your pony beads with. I just used this little black one. It's called rat tail cord. You can also use hemp or that plastic cord that's gimp. It doesn't hold as nicely unless you knot it millions of times. You can use yarn. I don't advise it. If you use the fat yarn, it's going to be hard to put the beads on. Maybe really thin yarn, but if you had other string that you're like, yeah, those will work, go for it. You can always try. You will also need some scissors because you're going to have to cut your string to the appropriate size. So first things first, you're going to need some string. I went from my fingertips to my shoulders width of string, but I did that twice. So do that twice and you should have enough string to make your beaded animals. Worst case, you have too much string. You can't add string on. It's way harder to add string on than it is just to cut off the extras at the end. So cut your string and then I'll show you how to get started. Also, before I started beading, I kind of laid out all my beads that I needed. I figured out I needed 2 eyes. I think I needed 22 yellow pieces and 27 purple pieces or something like that. So the purple I used as the body, the yellow was for the detailing and the toes. Also, I laid it all out just so that I knew I had a plan of how I wanted my lizard to look before I got started. So first you're going to fold your string in half. So you want to make it so that it's folded in half. And once you fold it in half right in the middle, you can make a little loop, which you can put through the keychain, and then you just kind of wrap it around and pull the remainder of the string through, just like so. You can also just tie a loop on the end if you don't have a keychain. So just make it so that there's a knot or a loop so that you could attach it to something. All right, and then you're going to take your beads, and to start, we're just going to start with 1 bead. And what's going to happen is you're going to take one side of your string. I started with the right-hand side. You're going to put it through the bead, going one way. And then I find it easier to take the other string now and put it through the opposite way, like so. And then you're going to pull it all the way through. I have too much string, so it takes me way longer than it should. So pulling my string, and once you get to the end, see, I have so much string. Once you get to the end, you're going to pull it snug. And you want to try and keep it snug the whole time. Sometimes it's harder to, especially when we get to the legs. It's a bit tricky. And then I'm going to take 2 beads. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to take my right hand string. I'm going to put it through both of the beads at the same time. Then I'm going to take my left hand string. And I'm going to put it through going the opposite direction. Oops, I messed up. And then I'm going to pull it all the way, same thing as the first one. Pull it all the way to the end, keeping it nice and snug. And now I'm going to add my eyeballs to this one. So if you pull it too snug, sometimes the beads will bend out of shape or look kind of weird, but it loosens up and sorts itself out eventually. So I'm going to lay out my beads the way that I want them. I'm going to do my eyeball first, my middle of my face, and my second eyeball. And just like before, I'm going to go through the opposite way. And then I'm going to do this again with 2 more beads to do my neck of it. So, same thing as before. All right, here comes the part that people kind of have more difficulty, and that is the foot, or its leg. So I'm only gonna use one of my strings. I'm gonna take my right string and I'm just gonna put it away because I don't need it for a little bit. I'm gonna take my left string and I'm going to put on the leg of my lizard. So first I'm gonna do the base of the leg, which is my purple beads, and then on that same string, at the exact same time, I'm going to put my toes on. I'm using yellow as my toes. So I'm going to put all 3 toes on. And I'm going to, using only that one string, I'm going to take it all the way to the lizard's neck, just like so. See, I'm only using one string. And I'm going to take the end of that same string, and I'm going to put it only through my purple beads. So don't touch your toes, they're done. You leave them, you just put it through the purple beads, going back the same way towards the lizard. And then I'm gonna pull it tight. My lizard is not secure, so he's slowly falling apart, but I can tighten him later as I go. But yeah, I'm gonna pull it all the way to the end, and you'll see, oh, his toes are starting to form. And then this is where I'm going to have to do some tightening and adjustments just so that he stays nice and tight. And there is lizard leg number 1. And essentially, I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. It's kind of easier when you're going to just tighten after you do both of them, because I made it wonky anyways. And then, once you've finished your legs, we're going to go back to using both strings again. So I'm going to then do the next part of my lizard. So I'm going to get 3 beads, and you can do whatever pattern you want here. I decided to do purple, yellow, and then purple. So remember putting it in on one string and going back through with the other string going in the opposite direction. And then I'm going to do this all the way down my lizard's back. I'm going to do 4 beads next time. And I'm going to do 4 beads again. And then I'm going to do 3 beads for the bottom kind of his belly. And then we're going to do his feet again. Once I got to the bottom of his belly, I tightened it up again a little bit. And like I said, we're going on to phase 2 of the legs. So get your beads ready. And I just did it all at once. And remember, it's all going on one string. So you're putting its ankle beads on, and then you do its toes on one string for that leg. And once it gets back to the base, that's when you're going to go back through only on your ankle beads, which in my case, it's just the purple beads. So I'm going to forget about the yellow beads, just do the ankle beads, and then I'm going to do it again on the other side. And once again, I made sure it was nice and tight. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to do 2 more purple beads, kind of for its butt, leading in to its tail. So I'm going to go back to the way I did its body, 2 beads on one string, and then using the other string to go the other way, and then pulling it tight all the way back up to the base. The rest of this lizard is essentially you just do that per every single bead for its tail, and you can make the tail as long or as short as you want. So just go ahead and you can do that step all the way till you have your full tail. Once I got to the end of my lizard, I just made sure it was tight, and I wrapped the string around my finger like so, and then I pulled the excess back through the loop that I made. I just made sure I had to fiddle a little bit to make sure that my knot was right at the base, just so that I didn't get a loose tail going on. If you have too much of loose string, he gets elongated. It's really funny. So I wanted to keep him nice and tight. I just did one knot. Depending on your rope or string, you might have to do multiple knots, but that is your lizard's tail, and then you want to cut off the excess like so. Ta-da! You have yourself a lizard that you can hang on your backpack, your keys, you can give it to your mom, your dad, grandma, anybody you want. Give them a lizard. Thank you for joining me on making a beaded lizard. You can also make a beaded snake. If you just want to not put on its legs, you can just turn it into a long snake. You can make your lizard, remember, as long as you want. And yeah, so thanks for making a beaded lizard with me. If you want to share any other beaded animals that you've made, or you have a request, just let us know in the comments below, or at campers.korner@campkiwanis.ca. We like to see what you guys make, or if you've made these before, maybe you have secrets that you can share with us. But essentially, we gave you, or I showed you how to the basics of beaded animals, and you can only get more crazy and build cooler things from there. So thanks for joining me, and thank you all the essential workers, people who are back to work. Try and go outside, spend as much time as you can outside. The weather has been amazing. You can even bead and make beaded animals in your backyard, so don't have to do it inside. You can do it outside. Thanks for joining me. Bye!